I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down? He should calm down.
I saw he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Because Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack.
Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please, just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber!
Wanda! Let's go, baby! Let's go! I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got dropped, man.
No, you won the fight.
OMG, I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube, obviously podcast from iTunes, Spotify, radio, etc. I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. We're going to be talking all things boxing today. Crawford versus Mean Machine. Teofimo Lopez ascending to potentially being the next star in the top-ranked stable, beating Richard Commey. Plus, obviously, sort of stitching back to Friday's card, Virgil Ortiz beating Brad Solomon. I know me and Gary chopped that up, but Rob hasn't, so we're going to sort of stitch back to that and address that one. Obviously, the big news today, Mikey Garcia signing to Matchroom for a one-fight plus one-fight option deal. That might cause some debate on the show, whether that's a good thing, what the long-term effects that could really mean for DAZN, all that fun intangibles of the discussion. So much to get to on today's show, guys. So without further ado, and again, hit the like button, share the show, all the YouTube stuff. You guys watching and listening, you know what to do to support the show. Support the show, please. It's helpful. Thank you. But let's go to Robbie Hearns, second cousin, twice removed of Sir Eddie. Rob, how are you? Before you say anything, guys picked up a big one, man. You guys picked up a big whale out there. Just saying. Can't wait to talk about it. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. I think that's the news. Eddie put a tweet out last night of big news dropping in the next 24 hours. And speculation was rife. It was Usyk Chisora for the WBO and what else? Some YouTuber fights and something else, but I think due to Eddie's massive love for Mikey and the courtship that has been since DAZN started, this was always going to be the news. We'll obviously talk about that. Obviously, the weekend, Crawford, Teofimo Lopez, I guess. No, I'm only joking, but I've got some thoughts on it. It's fine, but So hit that thumbs up, share the show, all that good stuff. 5-star reviews on iTunes, whatever. Just show some support. We're growing over 2,000 now, so let's go.
Yeah, so before we go to Gary, Foogatti, contributor to the show whenever he feels like it. I feel like he's already switching to the Teofimo Lopez hype train. Just want to point that out.
Oh, you think after that message? I think it was plain English. Man.
The Loma stands have already started turning to our side. It's okay, Rob. You can come to the dark side. But I digress, and let's go to Gary in Dallas. Gary, good weekend for you as well, man, obviously. I know we talked about it on a Friday night, but we're going to stitch back and talk about it today, man. Ortiz looked fantastic, man. Great weekend for combat sports overall. Your thoughts?
It was. We got to see the future of boxing in two fighters, Virgil Ortiz and Teofimo Lopez. That's the vision. I want to see those guys step up in 2020. I want to see Teofimo fight Lomachenko, and I want to see Virgil Ortiz fight Terrence Crawford.
When we get to all that, it's going to be so good. Let's get to the marquee fight of the weekend, guys. And even though for us hardcores, the people's main event was obviously Commey Lopez. The marquee fight of the weekend was Terrence Crawford defending his belt against Adonis Kavalauskas, Mean Machine, as they called it, or his nickname is, and there was tagline, that was the headline. Guys, thoughts on Crawford's performance? You know, I have a lot of thoughts about it. A lot of negative thoughts. You guys know me. I'm a cynical fuck. But I want to let you guys give your takes before I be negative and, stomp on everyone's hopes and dreams. Rob, thoughts on Crawford's performance against Kavaliauskas?
I mean, I think you've gone way the other way. I think you really have gone. You speaking of trains, you've totally got off. It's like on the platform, the Teofimo one came in. You were on the Crawford one.
Like, oh, that's a nice one. I'm gonna go on that one.
You went, oh, this train sucks. I'm getting off. That one looks exciting. I'm getting on that one.
Yes.
Exactly what has happened. But for me, yeah, Kavaliauskas, he gave Crawford some work, for the first sort of few rounds and stuff, but Crawford's class shone through in the end, and he started to dominate, and I mean the finish was just brutal. So I'm not so. I don't. For me, Bud's been in a weird mood all week. I felt fight week. He didn't want to give interviews or anything like that to. I think it was it Barboba Box said he didn't want to get in. He works for like ESPN.
The Portals also.
Yeah, and he was like, nah, and he's an ESPN like fighter, so you think that kind of interview would be set in stone. Yeah, we've got Bud, don't worry. But no, that wasn't happening. And he didn't want to take questioning over PBC fighters or what's next. And so I don't know whether people saying, it's just this mandatory, when are you going to fight? So I don't know. I felt Bud was in a, I don't know. It seemed a different kind of Bud this week. So whether he took Kavaliauskas a little bit lightly and then realized, oh shit, I'm going to have to do what I've got to do, or whatever. But no, I understand slightly where you're coming from. But yeah, I think you've gone way the other way. But no, all in all,
I haven't even given my opinion yet, Rob.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I know it. I already know it. But I think despite having getting a little bit of work early on, he I think Bud does that anyway, to a degree. I think he processes things. He's kind of like an Usyk, maybe a Loma, a few rounds to just compute everything, see the tells, see the angles, and then once all the data is processed, and then he kind of just performs and turns it on, and everything's all good in the world again. But yeah, job done, on to the next, and obviously we'll talk about that, but this was just my thought on the performance.
Gary, your thoughts on the performance in the ring, the X's and O's of Crawford's win over Kavaliauskas?
It was a different performance. He was looking to beat Kavaliauskas up. There wasn't the typical defensive wizardry of Crawford. It was weird to me that he stayed in the southpaw stance in line with that right hand that was clobbering him through the first 3 rounds. I had him down 3 rounds to nothing to start the fight. I was like, this might get interesting. Kavaliauskas might be really physically strong, and this might get interesting. And then Crawford turned around and dominated the fight. He won the 4th, and then from 5, 6, 7, 8, it was a one-sided beatdown. I know what they're going to say, because he did lose the first 3 rounds to a guy who you wouldn't expect that from. But it was a different type of performance. You could tell he had a chip on his shoulder, and he was looking to make Kavaliauskas pay for that. It didn't start off great for him. He got hit with a bunch of big shots, and he lost rounds. I don't even remember the last time someone was able to take rounds from him like that. You
would have to probably go back to maybe like the Beltran fight, the Ray Beltran fight, or maybe the Gamboa fight.
The Gamboa fight, and like Gamboa did good work, and it's going to be one of those things like you might have had it close, or you might have had it like Crawford winning all the rounds. But yeah, I mean, we're going back a while now. The last time someone was really taking rounds from him. I think we might want to reserve our judgment on Kavaliauskas. I'm not saying he's going to be a great. I'm saying he may be a top 10 guy for a while. The only other name was Avanesian. What was Robinson, who fought him to a draw. That may have been the outlier. That may have been the bad performance. Right?
And Abreu. Yeah, the Abreu fight too.
Robinson, no one looks good against Robinson, right? Really?
I mean...
Yeah, but Robinson's a top borderline top 15, top 20 guy.
Yeah, he's probably not in his 15. Like, honestly, he's probably not. You could,
He's probably 17, 18, around there, honestly.
But he's a difficult guy to look good against, right?
Yes, but he's still not the best of the best. So, but sorry, Gary, continue.
Yeah, so I was surprised that Crawford stayed in the Southpaw stance for as long as he did when he was, and he had all of his success. Even the knockdown. What round did the first knockdown come in?
He was down in round 7, then twice in round 9.
He knocked him. He knocked him down from the conventional stance in the 7th round, and then stayed there. I don't understand the mentality. If you're getting hit with right hands, which he was, why stay in that stance where you're in line for a right hand? But it said, okay, it said to me he didn't respect Kavaliakis' power, but Kavaliakis was hurting him. So it's like, well, how do you, like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like Kavaliakis was hitting him and it was having no effect on him. He buckled him twice.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, there's a lot of people saying that Crawford was knocked down and the ref let him off.
At first, I thought it was a push, but he leaned on him. When I watched it, his legs were never underneath him. You could have ruled that either way. Like,
and he got hit with a shot.
If he hadn't gotten hit with that shot, he wouldn't have went down. Did he get pushed on top of that? Probably. But his legs, you could go back and look. I watched it like 7-8 times because I didn't see a knockdown, and they kept saying it was a knockdown. Mm-hmm. I could see how you score that knockdown. He was probably pushed, but his legs were not underneath him. And I also I think Crawford had in his head that if he could make Kavaliakis go backwards, he could have his day with him. But Kavaliakis was having his best moments when Crawford was trying to walk him down. I don't know what we're laughing at.
I think Rob's laughing if I'm guessing here, because I know Rob.
He's just calling Mean Machine, Gary. I can't get through this.
Yo, the Todd Grisham of MCR with name pronunciation.
How do you say it, Rob?
Kavaliakis.
Kavaliakis?
There's an S before the K. So
I'm really not concerned about
Mean Machine. Mean Machine. Mean Machine.
There's an S before the K. Gary's gonna be like Skavaliakis.
Skavaliakis.
No, not that K.
Whatever. It's already in my head as Kavaliakis, so that's what we're gonna go with.
Just go with whatever you want, Gary. I don't care anymore.
Mean Machine. Just
Mean Machine had his best moments when Crawford was trying to come forward. He'd catch him in exchange, as Teddy Atlas would say, catch him coming and going, and that's kind of what he was doing. I think Mean Machine may be better than we gave him credit for. Not that he's a killer. You can see he was out of class in the second half, well, from the 5th round on. But he might be okay. He might be able to give the guys in the top 10 a run for their money. But I don't think it was a bad performance. I just think it was a different performance. I don't know if that means Crawford's legs aren't the same. He is 32, but I wouldn't say it was a bad performance. He knocked him down 3 times and got him out of there.
Okay, let me get into it.
Here we go. Matt, do the Ace Ventura when it's like suck it up before you go on this rant from hell.
I agree with a lot of actually what you both say, to be honest. Because a lot of you, I think, sort of are making the same points that I've been making. That Crawford didn't really, I think, take Kavaliakis serious, didn't respect him. He walked him down. And that led to him having a performance where he got hit a lot, comparative to fights where he's fought really accomplished fighters like Postal, like Horn, and washed them. Dominated those guys. Much better and more accomplished fighters than Kavaliakis. Because Kavaliakis, while being undefeated, is a proven commodity at this point. We know what he is. We've seen him with enough guys. Okay. He is that borderline top 15 welterweight. And Crawford didn't respect him and got arguably dropped, got touched up, and never really adjusted to that. Was on an ego trip to make a statement. But in the process of trying to make a statement, the statement he made was the opposite one I think he was trying to make. He was trying to walk down Kavaliakis and beat him up within, 3 rounds, 4 rounds? That's what it looked like he was trying to do. But Mean Machine was landing that right hand, was countering him consistently, and was able to meet him on these exchanges and find success. And Crawford, again, didn't really adjust to that. He got over that hump and was able to just wear down Kavaliauskas eventually because he's just a better fighter, right? I mean, we know that. However, we now have a little bit more of a case study of Crawford as a fighter. He's now at 36-0. Like, we know what Crawford is. I don't think Crawford is the pound-for-pound number one guy in the world. I think he's a very talented guy. I think he's pound-for-pound in the top 10 without a doubt. But he should not be struggling with guys like Kavaliauskas. He should not be struggling with guys like Jose Benavidez. He just shouldn't. And there now seems to be a little bit of a trend now in this division where he's struggling. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's a lack of maybe power or size in the division. I don't know if it's an issue of pride getting into these matchups. I don't know what that issue is. But he's had issues in his last fights, and they seem to be more of a... There seems to be something there. There's not outliers, in my opinion. Similar in a way, whom I can get to with the co-main event, like Lomachenko at lightweight. He's struggling more at lightweight. Is that due just to the size factor, that he's finally sort of meet his maximum size, and these guys are just all sort of big, and the tricks he had, and the way he was able to bully lightweights and 140-pounders, and for Loma, it would be featherweights and super featherweights, no longer works in the current division. That's a likely possibility. And then add into this matchup the obvious disrespect that Crawford had for Kavaliauskas in terms of his power, in terms of his skill set. He just did not care about what he was doing. And I hurt him in this fight. I don't know how people come away with this fight and call it his greatest performance, which I'm seeing people say. That's just not true. I don't know how people come away with saying that Kavaliauskas is now a secret top 5, top 10 welterweight. It's just not true. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Crawford struggled with a guy he should not have struggled with. And that's just the reality. It's the harsh reality. Whether or not there's X factors that cause him to struggle, and it's not because of his lack of talent, which I don't think it is. I think there's probably X factors involved with his struggling here and struggling in the last fight. But there are issues and factors that are causing him to struggle here at 147 pounds. What they are, let me know in the chat. Guys, any thoughts? I mean, because I do think Crawford he doesn't look the same at 147 like he did at 140 and 135.
It is the same weight class. It's third weight class, so there's that. I also think that in his previous 3 fights, he lost 2 rounds total. So I wouldn't really call that struggling.
Well, you just said he lost 3 rounds in his last fight. So.
His first 3 fights at 47. So Benavidez, Horn, and Khan. Total 3 fights. I thought he lost 2 rounds to Benavidez. That's it. So I wouldn't really call that struggling. Less than 1 round to fight losing. So I think you're making a mountain out of a molehill, right? Like Deontay Wilder got hit with a lot of left hands from Luis Ortiz. Would you say he struggled?
But that's Luis Ortiz, bro. Do we really need to have these conversations comparing Kavaliauskas and Benavidez to actually credible elite competition?
But would you say
they're not that?
Wilder struggled in that fight, or did he do exactly what he wanted?
But struggling to elite competition is very different than struggling to top 15, top 20, top 25 competition.
Again, and I want to. We've only seen him fight 2 names, and he got a draw with 1, which is a bad performance, and then Avedissian.
We've seen him fight 3 people. You keep
3 people,
right? You keep throwing out Abreu. He fought Abreu. Juan Carlos Abreu was a name that was thrown around on HBO cards for a long time.
Yeah,
we know him. That's a fight that we knew.
Did you see it though, Gary?
I probably did. It was on a Ramirez card in Fresno.
Probably. I'm assuming it was.
I mean,
I can look it up really fast.
It got in my head if I saw it, Rob. His name did, name, because there's 27 consonants in a row in it.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was on a Ramirez Fresno card, and it went the distance.
Which is weird because he's so physically strong. You think he should be able to beat those type guys down, and just beat them up and make them quit, or have the ref come in and stop it. I don't think he struggled that much, especially after the first 3 rounds. Then I thought he dominated the fight. I don't think it's fair to say that, even as great as Crawford is, that he should just go in there and win every minute of every round and not get hit. I don't think that's realistic.
Did I ever say that?
You
No.
didn't
Look. Earl Spence, when he had a mandatory that did not belong there in Carlos Ocampo, did he get hit a couple times with the body? Yeah, but he wiped him out of there within 2 rounds. He instantly showed, okay, when you want to press me this way, it's over. There are levels to this shit. You do not belong here with me. Crawford did not do that at all here. He did struggle. You say losing 3 rounds out of a 9-round fight doesn't mean he struggled. He did. You admit that he got arguably dropped. He did struggle. I mean, I don't know how people can make this argument that Crawford did well in this fight. He didn't. He looked like dog shit in this fight, and he shouldn't as the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world fighting Kavaliauskas. What the fuck are we talking about, people? Your pound-for-pound great should not be looking this way. When Canelo Alvarez fought a tune-up, borderline top 15 guy in a weight class higher, washed him in 2 rounds. Okay? Like this should not be an issue for Crawford. Yeah, can he get hit maybe a couple times in the first round? Sure. But second round, third round, fourth round, it should be over. He should show instantly there are levels to this game. He didn't. If anything, he showed that this guy was on his level. Whether that was due to a chip on his shoulder and playing to his level, I don't know. But in this fight, he fought to Kavaliauskas' level. And he shouldn't. This is one of his worst performances in a long time, if not his worst performance, since the Gamboa fight.
And all things considered, Gamboa was out of his weight class, but Gamboa was a pound-for-pound guy. This was a way worse performance than Gamboa. Gamboa was legit.
No. I'm not saying that Gamboa was a bad performance. I'm saying because that's what his breakout moment. So, like, everything since Gamboa, this was reconnection successful. Here we go. We're back. Okay, I think we're back. YouTube family. I don't know what happened there. I don't know. But we're here. We should be back. Anyways, that was odd. Back to my rant.
Don't rant again in case it was that. Maybe your rant went, no, I've had enough of this guy. Cut him.
Gary, you have some counterpoints you want to make. Unless Rob has some counterpoints, but counter arguments, because I feel like this is an argument to be had.
I don't know. Like I say, I just think you've gone a little bit.
I might be harsh.
Too much the other way, right? You know, it's 2-time Olympian. Yeah, I know that Olympic team is Lithuania, so I don't know how deep the Lithuanian boxing, how hard it was for him to qualify for the Olympics. But
you got a country of 15 people. How hard is it to really make the? I'm not putting them down. I'm just like putting it.
You are, Gary. That's a ridiculous statement.
I mean, there's at least 25 people there.
I'm looking it up because that is ridiculous that you're even doing that right now.
Let's guess. 5 million people?
I would say, okay, that sounds fair.
5 million people? Because it is a relatively small country.
Fair. Oh, my God. You have no idea.
Right between, like, Finland and Russia there.
I think you've gone a little high, to be honest. But
oh, me? Maybe. I mean, it could be like 1 million people. That's possible. There's a lot of European countries that are really small, like Luxembourg.
Like Iceland's like 400,000. Like, you look at the population of Iceland, it's like a town.
2.7.
Okay. I mean, you weren't way off, but I mean, I would say 2.5 to 5 in that ballpark.
You can't say now it's fucking. I've told you.
You're almost 100% off, Matt.
Whoa. Okay, guys. What juju is happening here? Okay, what dark magic is happening? I'm trying to fix this. Refresh. Apologies about this. I don't know why this is happening right now.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back. We're back.
Well, if you put on the YouTube, what are you watching?
Hi guys. We're back. I don't know what happened. We're back. They can hear us. It was just light stream. We're good.
We made some great points as well. We completely buried you with what we said just then.
I'm not going to repeat it.
In the last the 3 seconds that we missed.
Yeah, I just said that's emotional. That was it. No, I just think you're being a little too harsh. You know, he's been great to watch. You know, and maybe he just had a few rounds where he wasn't quite so great to watch against a guy he perhaps didn't think was going to be as tough as he was. And the finish was brutal. He did show levels. He did show his eliteness compared to Kavaliauskas, and that was it.
Look, Evander Holyfield got dropped by a guy named Burt Cooper and nearly stopped by him. Pernell Whitaker got dropped twice, including in the first 5 seconds by a guy named Diablo Hurtado. Like, were these guys not great?
Hurtado.
Like getting dropped. Like, I feel like that's match generations thing. Like, getting dropped, so what? Like, I don't care if you get dropped. Get up and win the fight. Like, that's impressive to me. But like, oh, he got dropped, so he sucks. Lomachenko got dropped by
Whoa.
not you.
No. But you are talking to my argument, so let me address that because that's how people will address it. I have always, from the beginning of this argument, I said Crawford's still pound for pound. So let's not mischaracterize the argument here. You want to argue to fake people online? Make sure that's who you're talking to. Define that. If you want to talk about my argument, then talk directly to my argument. Gary.
Okay. To those in the boxing community who think that getting dropped is the end of the world, I just gave you great fighters who got dropped.
Absolutely good point.
By mediocre fighters. It's get up and win the fight, which is what Crawford did.
Same thing as losses, like B-Hop losing his first fight. Like that's the old stereotype of using that fight of, you can always bounce back and become great. That doesn't matter. But back to the point.
People have got Manny Pacquiao in their pound for pound list. So
yeah.
And Pacquiao got dropped by 40-year-old Shane Mosley. Keep that.
We've seen him famously face down, wondering if he's going to be okay.
To be fair, though, those are against really great fighters, not Kavaliauskas.
I didn't want to bring up that analogy because it was Marquez, right? Like Marquez is arguably, he didn't have the career Pacquiao did, but Marquez is better than Pacquiao. Marquez is a better boxer than Pacquiao.
But back to Crawford and Kavaliauskas here, Gary.
Sorry, I went down that road. That was going to go a long way off.
Yeah, and then it was a different fight. Like if that was how Crawford typically fought, if Crawford was a come forward aggressor, you would just say it was a good performance. Like, but because he fought out of style, it kind of made you question what he was doing.
I'll put it this way. When I see you as a fighter dominate in unifications against guys like Victor Postal, dominate a guy like Jeff Horn, who had just went to war with Manny Pacquiao, I'm going to expect you to meet that same standard going forward, especially when you have a drop-off in competition level. You get my point? Like, that is my ultimate argument here, is that we saw Crawford dominate great guys. Why is he now struggling with two guys in his last two fights? Again, maybe at his third weight class. Also two guys who, for different issues and for different fight weeks, there was animosity going into it. For this one, it was all about the PBC guys, that chip on their shoulder. Last one, him and Benavidez did not get along. So there was that chip on their shoulder to fight out of style.
You're completely disregarding Amir Khan, right?
He struggled in that fight. He won every minute.
I'm skipping that fight. I'm skipping that one. I'm skipping that one. That one didn't count in my mind, okay?
All right.
With Benavidez, it's like, Benavidez may have won a round or two off the jab and a couple power shots, but like Benavidez didn't have any level of success. Like Mayweather lost a round or two to Robert Guerrero. Did he lose round? I mean, did Mayweather struggle in that fight? No, he's fighting a good fighter, and the guy had moments.
You mean the opposite? You mean Guerrero?
What did I say?
I think you said Mayweather only won a round or two.
Guerrero won a couple rounds up with Mayweather. Like, did he struggle in that fight? No, it's just like.
But Gary, you are using like these 10-9 rounds like they're all the same, and you're smarter than that.
No,
you know that. Like,
yeah,
do we really need to have this conversation on how like a Crawford Benavidez fight, which went to what, the 11th or 12th round?
What's the 12th? Yeah.
That Benavidez winning 2 to 4 rounds was a sign, not that it was competitive. Look at the fight. Like, watch the fight from beginning of the fight to the end of the fight. Benavidez is competitive throughout.
Yeah, he's competitive because he's a good fighter. Like, he's a really good fighter.
But relative to other guys that Crawford has fought, he is not as good as them. And Crawford dominated those guys.
Yeah, he's not as good as Postal. And I get Postal's his best performance.
Or Jeff Horn.
Horn too.
Or Felix Diaz even.
I like Felix Diaz. I thought Diaz beat Peterson, but a lot of
He did.
people don't hold him in any regard, so I didn't want to say that. But I think that was a good victory.
No, he
I
did.
think that was a good win.
First off, he did beat Lamont Peterson. Let's get the record straight on that. Again, it's not that you can't have an off night. It's that we've had a couple off nights now that there has to be some correlation because now there seems to be more of a consistency. I don't count the Amir Khan fight because, I mean, look, it was Amir Khan in 2019. Let's just be fucking brutally honest about it. The two real welterweights that are fighting right now and active, and Benavidez and Kavaliauskas, two guys that are, again, borderline top 15, top 20 guys. Crawford struggled with them for reasons that may not be that he's a bad fighter, but there are reasons that he struggled with them. Let's address and deal with those reasons, because to act like he's been perfect in the welterweight division thus far is just not true. He blew out Horn, blew out Amir Khan, but he struggled with Benavidez. He struggled especially in this fight against Kavaliauskas. And to say that this guy is on a number one pound-for-pound run right now is just asinine. Like, it is just so, ignorant of what other fighters are doing right now and their level of dominance against far better competition than what Crawford is doing right now. So I think just people need to have a reality check about what Crawford is right now. Not what he can be, not what his talent level is, but what is he doing? Who is he beating? What accomplishments does he have right now? It's not as star-studded and pound-for-pound all-time great as his talent says it should be. And as the machine, ESPN and Top Rank are just telling you it is.
Let's see how he does against, I didn't think Porter looked good against Berto, even though he stopped him, and I think he didn't look good against Granados. And then he fought Danny, and he looked great, and then he fought Spence, and he was right there with Spence. So let's see how he looks against those guys, right? Because
I want to just point out all the names you mentioned, also better than Kavaliauskas. At the time. Not maybe like right now, obviously, but relative to the time.
Granados, Kavaliauskas, who you got?
Granados relative to that time? Granados, yeah.
That's a great scrap, though.
Yeah, it's a good scrap because they're borderline top 15 guys.
Yeah. But Porter lost rounds to him. I don't think I think if we're saying Kavaliauskas is 15, I think we're on the same page. I think that's about right. I think his upside, and we haven't seen it yet, so we can't put him there, maybe closer to top 10. But I can't put him there yet because he hasn't earned it.
I have people legitimately in my mentions on Twitter telling me that Postal is not as good as Kavaliauskas. You people need therapy.
You guys, I get Postal was not a fun fighter or he wasn't a draw in America. Guys, go back and watch Postal against Matisse.
Look, first off, he just had a belt. He was a champion. He had a legitimate belt around him, and he beat Matisse. End of story. Full stop. Go away, trolls. But on the note of Crawford's next fight, Sean Porter was talking about it on Inside PBC, I think is what it's called, right? The shoulder programming they have. Let's play the clip of good old Sean Porter.
Sean, I'll ask you, because we all heard Bob Arum recently bring up your name as someone that he would love to see face his golden goose, Terence Crawford, at some point.
Yeah.
Do you consider Terence a friend, first of all?
Yeah, for sure.
Would you fight a friend?
I've said this before in a lot of interviews, that if Terence and I fight, it'll be because we decide to fight. He's got a big fight coming up this weekend. I think Bob Arum is jumping the gun. Obviously, we expect Terence to win this fight, but, if he's expecting to make this fight between Terence and I, that's not going to happen. The fight between Terence and I will happen if he and I make the fight. Top Rank won't have anything to do with it, and neither will PBC.
Why wouldn't you want to make that fight, though?
It's all about the friendship. If this is a line that he and I agree that we're going to cross, and we'll go ahead and cross that line.
So, guys, thoughts on what's next for Terence Crawford? It feels like there's been so much talk and just smoke around the Sean Porter matchup that I feel like that's the one they're going to go towards. The fact that you have a PBC shoulder programming sort of segment talking about it, addressing it, Sean Porter addressing it, I feel like it's going to happen. I feel like these two guys are going to put their friendship aside and they're going to have this fight.
Friendship.
I mean,
Steph Curry played against his brother in the NBA Western Conference Finals. Friendship.
He didn't punch him in the face, though, Gary, did he? He didn't like physically try to punch him in the face.
Make the
and
fight.
knock him out.
Come on, friendship. Oh, we're buddies. Like, go make the fight.
Go make the fight.
Does that work for brothers as well?
You can't compare the Charlos to buddies. That's not the same thing.
Okay, bro.
Buddy, I'm not gonna fight my buddy. Like, okay, I met him once at a Sweet 16, so now I can't fight him. He was a nice guy. He picked my mom up when it was raining outside, so I'm not gonna make the fight. He's my buddy.
Rob, you're my buddy, but if somebody paid me a lot of money, I would fight you.
Yeah, but you wouldn't. There
You wouldn't
isn't enough money.
Like, buddy.
Risk worth reward, Matthew.
I didn't say what price it was going to be. I'm just saying, like, if somebody offered me a
But
price,
Gary, their friendship is a little bit deeper than they met once at a Sweet 16.
but they were around 16 when they met.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay,
Anyway.
great. Like, I know. Cool.
But this is nothing new in boxing, right?
No,
People
buddies
have
should
to
fight.
each other because they're friends, right?
It's not as common as obviously brothers, right? I mean, we know that. I mean, and plus you get.
Ward were good friends.
But you can't bring up two basketball brothers. What are you gonna? Oh, I didn't mean to dunk on you. I'm sorry. We're bro. You know.
And it'd be different if they were like training partners, right? If they had the same coach. That's not the case. They were friends because of the amateur system, and they have each other's numbers. Who cares? Fight.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they shouldn't fight because they're friends. Like, I don't care. Like, if the fight's made, cool. I'm really want to see it, and that's fine. No problem. I'm not defending.
No.
I'm just defending their possibly their stance on it.
I know you're trolling. Mainly. I understand.
Yeah.
But like, what do we think happens? Do we think we actually get this one?
Seems like it, but Bob seems to be quite like fine about it. Not what Mr. Does he even exist? Cancer on sport. What, he's going to suddenly send us one of his fighters? Yeah, he's not like shitting all over it. He's not being like Bob about it. Yeah, and it's down to didn't Sean say something like Top Rank won't be involved with this or PBC won't be involved with this? Like,
I think he means that in terms of
me and Terrence will sort this out.
Yes,
and then it will get
yeah. In terms of if this fight's going to happen, it's because me and Terrence are going to agree that this fight's the fight to make.
Yeah,
not that
our people talking to their people.
Yeah, it's not that I'm going to go to PBC and tell Al to make the fight. That's not how it's going to go. Me and Terrence are going to say we're going to make the fight, and then we're going to tell the networks to figure it out, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, because I then saw some reporter must have taken that the wrong way because they asked Bob and he was like, Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter will not be fighting on DAZN. I could tell you that. You know, like, I think people are going to stick like, wait, Top Rank and PBC aren't going to be involved with this fight.
Well, if you read the headline, if you don't hear him say it with the the tone and sort of the context.
Yeah. I mean, I got it from the head. I thought surely that's not ESPN's guy is going to come off of ESPN to fight me, and it's not going to be on PBC either. Yeah, whatever. That he must mean me and Bud are going to talk. And then the deal will get ironed out, and then but anyway, yeah, that should be the fight. He's dealt with his speeded up, push forward a little faster mandatory. That's done and dusted. So free to fight whoever. Now, if it's not that, I do believe we are going to get a 140 guy being dragged up from a lower weight class. Unfortunately, I mean, he said good names, but it's a 140 guy coming up to 147. But yeah, I think the Porter fight looks and sounds like it could well happen.
And just make it a Code Network pay-per-view, please.
And how does that fight go?
Picking Sean Porter.
What have you done for me lately, kind of thing, right?
Hell yeah.
For you, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's just be honest. And plus, I mean, the factor of size to me is becoming more prevalent with Terrence Crawford. That he seems to be a little bit outsized and not muscled at 147. And again, the comparison I made earlier, Lomachenko, I think is an obvious one. You can still win because of your skill level. You can still do very well in this division. He could still beat Sean Porter and Earl Spence, all these guys, because of his skill level. But if he gets to a point where he has to rely on his power and his grit and determination, sorry, some of these guys have that, and they're stronger and bigger than you. And that's what's going to be a lot of issues probably for Terence Crawford.
Find me someone with a bigger dog determination, and I'm going to give you work for 36 minutes than Sean Porter. So he's on that level, and he's got the heart and the like dog in him to definitely see that through.
And plus, Sean Porter's boxing skill has been improving drastically in the last 3 years, 2 years. So
up and down.
So who do you pick in that fight, Matt?
I said Porter.
He just said Porter.
Okay, I thought. Okay, never mind.
Don't forget, he's making that pick as the Tiafimo hype train's leaving the station.
I'll be honest. There's this like, it's Earl and Sean for me right now at 1 and 2. Just being honest. And then it's this weird like Pacquiao, Thurman, Crawford range where I'm like any of them at any time could beat each other, in my opinion. And then Danny behind them all.
Yeah.
Behind Ugas and then Danny.
No, he's better than Ugas. Let's stop. Thomas Delorme beat Ugas.
Make that fight.
Mauricio Herrera beat Danny Garcia.
He didn't though. It's okay.
He did though.
Let me check that.
He really did.
He kind of did. All right. Yeah, that was bad.
That was 140, wasn't it? Or a catchweight?
That was catchweight. That was one of those catchweight fights.
That was the
144.
Yeah. Slowly get up to the.
There's that fight, the Lamont fight, and the Rod Salka fight maybe was a 144 catchweight as well.
I think it was like 141 or 142 because he just couldn't make the weight anymore, so they changed it. I think it was originally scheduled for 140, and then he couldn't make it, so they made a catchweight fight.
I'm trying to remember. I can't really remember.
Rod Salka.
It was years ago. But anyways,
Rod Salka.
Gary, you didn't really give your thoughts, I think. You think Crawford Porter happens next?
I do. I think it happens next. The silly, dopey thing with I can't fight my buddy is a little ridiculous. We're guys. You go fight your friend, and 10 minutes later, you're friends again. Like this is for millions of dollars. Make the fight, right? Like,
yeah,
it'll get made. And I like Porter's attitude that PBC or Top Rank can't hold it up. If we want to make it, we'll make it. That's good. I like to hear that. And I think it gets made next. I think it's a great fight, and I think Crawford wins the decision.
Interesting. Fanboy. ESPN shill.
Yeah,
you wait to move on to the fucking undercard fight.
Let's go to the people's main event. You ready to go to the people's main event now? Richard Commey losing to Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah.
Let's get to that because I mean, talk about a breakout performance. This is obviously. I think it was Santiago called in, and Gary, you reminded me, right? Like Santi said that Teofimo Lopez would have a Gervonta Davis-like breakout moment. I mean, he did that in spades. Let's be honest here, and did it probably against a better opponent too, in Richard Commey. But he really iced him out early and often and quick within this fight, and he shut him down really quick as well within the first round. I said in the preview show that Commey's path to victory was to just back up Lopez. That once he gets that ball going, he's that guy that it's hard to get that ball to stop going and to stop hitting you. And Lopez, to his credit, was able to sort of start pushing Commey back rather quickly in the fight and made this more of a in the center mid-range fight where Lopez was able to sort of dip and slip off shots and counter. And obviously in the second round, caught him with that beautiful right hand off of the slip off the jab and dropped him, followed up, dropped him again. I mean, again, just one of the most impressive performances for a prospect I've seen in some time, to be honest. And also, I am fully on board for the Teofimo Lopez hype train. He is beating Lomachenko in April. Sorry, Lomachenko stands. Get over it. It's happening. It's happening. That generation turnover, it's happening. And I think we're going to see that in April. Guys.
Stop crapping around because you think you know better than anybody else.
No, look, I put a tweet out today saying like this sport is like sometimes can be fine margins, and the slow motion of the shot that put Commey down in the second round, they both threw basically identical right hands at each other. And Teofimo, maybe because of his youth, his hand speed was just that little bit more, but his accuracy was there. But it was a matter of centimeters before Richard Commey was landing the same shot on Teofimo. So things could have been very different talking about it today, but it didn't. And yeah, Teofimo then jumped on him, and it's impressive. But I don't know. Like I say, when I saw that, it could have been a double knockout if Commey landed his flush. He just I don't know. Teofimo did kind of slip off the shot as he was throwing his, so it's like he saw Commey's coming and he had the head movement, whereas Commey didn't, and that was the difference. So the accuracy, maybe the youth, like I say, with the hand speed, just to beat Commey to that punch. But yeah, the slow motion of the knockdown is insane. It could have been like I say, a double knockdown. But yeah, I was coming in here trying not to be the all aboard the hype train. But like Santi said, we looked at the Nakatani fight and felt Lopez struggled. Now I know there was family issues, all that going on, and maybe I don't think he was quite with nutritionists and stuff trying to make weight. That had been an issue, I believe. So it was kind of like, I don't know, he didn't look really impressive in that fight as much. You know, he had trouble with this guy who, in true Japanese fashion, lost the fight and retired there and then. But I don't know. I think time will tell. We'll have to see. But I think Lomachenko is still on another level skill-wise. For like setting traps, footwork, everything along those lines. Now, if he reduces Lopez to just looking for big shots, I think Lomachenko potentially would just have his way with him and really show true levels to this thing. But Lopez, on the other hand, might just have to land one, and he seems to have heavy hands. So it's going to be really interesting. But yeah, shout out to Teofimo Lopez. He done his thing off the back of we said, what have you done for us lately? Well, before this, didn't leave me. Well, it left me picking Commey in this fight, and there was a whole bunch of money came on Lopez late. He went from I think it all opened up. He was a minus 120, and he was like a minus nearly 500. But just before the fight, money came flying in on Lopez. But yeah, great performance. I don't know if you've seen the little clip. I know you can't quite hear Bob exactly what he says, but he's trying to get Lopez's attention in the ring, and he's giving him like a full-on old school promoter speech. And at the end, you see him mouth the words like, "Now don't fuck this up." Like it was, I guess it was along the lines of, "Look, you wanted this, you've done this, you wanted Loma next. Now don't fuck," because I think Bob obviously, like, star-wise, I don't think Loma's panned out quite. On the star quality, as a greater fighter as he is, I don't think he's not a draw, really.
It's not necessarily that. It's because I think you're right about that, but it's more that there's no big fight he can angle Loma for, because Loma topped out at 135.
The Mike fight is out.
And with Teofimo Lopez, if he beats Loma, and he's at 22 years old, he's going to go to 140, 147 in the next couple of years.
Like, going to go the other way.
The amount of big fights that are available for Teofimo Lopez is going to just open up drastically.
And he's
make that fight with Haney sooner rather than later, so he can do it 3 times throughout their career.
Yes.
I had a couple of contrasting thoughts here on Teofimo. Well, not on Teofimo, but on Teofimo and the future. I thought the first round was pretty good. Good action. Both guys landed good shots. And then the shot came in the second, and that was it. They traded right hands. His got there first, and the fight was over. It happened, so the end result's the only thing that matters. He got the win by devastating knockout. But we didn't get to see him how he responded and how he reacted when he was tested, because he didn't have to be. But, like, if they fought again, that wouldn't happen like that. I wouldn't think. Like, he's not going to catch him with that shot again in the second round.
I still think he wins though, but I get your point.
Okay, maybe, but I want to see that. I wanted to see how he responded when a big, strong, world-class, world champion fighter was pushing him back, and he had no problems I don't think he won the first round, but he didn't look like a man against a boy. Like, I thought it was going to be a big difference in physical strength. That wasn't the case at all.
Sorry, quick note on that, because we were talking about the weight. Remember, I think on the preview show, whatever. And the Saturday morning weigh-in, they both weighed the same exact thing, the same exact level. So they both rehydrated to the same weight.
But the IBF has the 10-pound or 10% max rehydration clause, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's IBF, so they couldn't be more than 10 pounds over in the morning. They were 144, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think
144 and a half. Yeah. So they made it, but my point was, he looked good. He got the end result that you wanted to. That shot was great. But now, does he beat Lomachenko? I went from absolutely not to I don't know, because I don't know how maybe he could, but landing that shot on Lomachenko is far different than landing it against Commey. Commey is a guy that's very hittable, that's defensively irresponsible, that gets hit a lot. Then saying you're going to hit Lomachenko with that shot. Now, Lomachenko's been hit. He got hit by Linares. He got hit by Luke Campbell. That was pretty much it. Crowler didn't put hands on it, but
no.
He got hit by those guys. So maybe they could, maybe. I'm not saying he can't. Like, if you would have asked me before yesterday, can he beat Lomachenko, I would have laughed at you. Now I'm not laughing, but I'm also not saying yes, because I don't know. He's still untested to me, because Commey was supposed to be that test, and it was over before it started. Now, I think if they fought again,
Commey got caught. Yeah, he got caught with a heavy shot.
Again,
because of a great trap and great setup.
Do you think so, or did he just traded right hand? His got there first. Do you think he said?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
No, they didn't just all of a sudden look at each other and then both threw right hands at the same time. Look at the sequence again. Commey throws a jab, Lopez slips it, and then boom, throws a right hand. And by the time Commey is dropping that jab back and then throwing the right hand, that right hand's already connecting. He set the trap up.
Okay. Again, I'll go back and I wasn't looking for that. You see that kind of shot land, and it's like Marquez is like, that's all you can like that. The fact that Commey got up from that was crazy, right?
And he almost didn't get up. I mean, he was all over the place.
If they would have stopped it right there, would you have been upset with a stoppage?
Kind of, but not too much, because his legs were not under him, it seemed, to be honest.
Given the situation that it was a second round of a world title fight, I guess you give him the benefit of the doubt and let him go.
And that's kind of what they did.
Stopped it, I would have been fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't look good. I mean, after that knockdown. I mean, it was largely done from that first knockdown. Everything else was just necessary to get the stoppage, I guess, after that. But I will say this. Go back and watch like the clip and then watch the whole round. He is setting up that bait. He is setting it up that constantly. He's looking for that jab. He's timing it. He's reading the distance between the two and looking for that right hand counter. The entire 3.5 minutes, whatever it is, before that knockdown.
It was like the Marquez fight with Pacquiao, where like Marquez was looking to knock him out with that right hand. He was feinting, and Roy Jones had pointed out like 2 or 3 times before that he's just missing with that right hand. If he lands with it, it's going to be a game changer. And then he finally landed it. So it's like that wasn't a lucky punch. I'm not saying this was a lucky punch because he meant to throw it. He had intent on it, and it landed. So it's not a lucky punch. I just don't know if they fought again that the planets would align for that to happen again. But it doesn't matter.
If this lasted 4 more rounds, would you not have this criticism?
If it came in the 6th round, probably not.
Okay.
Because at that point,
no, I understand. I understand completely. I get it. I think that's a valid criticism that we didn't really see as much from this matchup that we probably wanted to, especially going into a Lomachenko matchup. But I mean, how can you not see that the talent there? You know what I mean? Like, you can tell the guy is skilled. You can tell the guy has elite level power at lightweight. He really does, comparative to other people. He might be the heaviest hitter in the division. You can make that argument because, I mean, Shafikov, Commey, nobody treated. I mean, Shafikov or Easter. Nobody did this to Richard Commey ever. People have dropped him and hurt him before, but people have never iced him like this. And maybe the Nakatini fight is an outlier. You know, we didn't really see a lot of Nakatini beforehand.
It's like Bud Kavalauskas, kind of.
No.
I just hate the bias on ESPN where they said it was an easy fight for him. No, it wasn't. The Nakatini fight was an easy victory for TFE. He just didn't get the knockout. It's like, that wasn't an easy fight for him. He won. I had an 8-4. But that was not an easy fight. He had to rally and win that fight.
Things weren't working, you know.
Yeah, it was one of those like he was trying to force stuff. It wasn't necessarily.
Yeah,
it wasn't
his work.
It wasn't a performance where like he was getting hurt and like getting touched up, but like he just wasn't doing well. You know, he wasn't putting things together the way he needs to. It was one of those fights. But digressing from that, any other points or thoughts about Lopez and Commey?
No, I just my only concern that is like when I picked Commey to beat Lomachenko because Commey would be too strong for him. I still don't think that he fits in this weight class. Like they had a picture of him with Jamel Herring. Herring's bigger than he is, and Herring's a weight class smaller. Now I know Herring comes down from 35, but like I don't think Lomachenko belongs in this weight class. And when you get one of these really big, strong lightweights, they may just be able to impose their will on him.
Him and Loma in the ring together, I thought they looked like similar height. There wasn't a great deal in the height difference from what I could see, but unless Loma had some glam rock fucking boots on or some shit, I don't know.
That is possible.
Could be straight out of U6 wardrobe.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, no, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully that fight gets made. But I guess it'll be early next year, right? So I think they say
March or April is the
yeah. So I think Bob wants to take that to MSG, but didn't Klimas say he won't be bringing Loma back to Madison Square Garden after the Nikitin scorecards or something like
that? Speaking of that, Michael Conlon defeating Vladimir Nikitin via unanimous decision. And just for the sake of time, because we've already spent an hour talking about this card, I'm going to run through all of the undercard right now. George Kambosos Jr. defeating Mickey Bay via split decision. Josue Vargas defeating Noel Murphy via unanimous decision. Edgar Belonga defeating Cesar Nunez via first round TKO. Wow. He is looking...
He's legit.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good. Plus super middleweight is kind of one of those divisions that needs a lot of new talent, and it's quickly developing talent. We just had Melikuziev fight on the Ortiz Solomon card, and I mean he looks fantastic.
How young is Baranga?
I'll check that in a second. And Julian Rodriguez defeating Manuel Mendez via unanimous decision. Guys, any thoughts on the undercard?
Just Julian Hammerhands. I look good. I just like. I mean, he doesn't jab enough. He's gonna look great and beast on these guys, but like, there's no jab. Like he barely jabs at all. And then, how do you say his name? Berdinger.
Belonga.
I'm not gonna get that right either. Berlanga.
Yeah, perfect. Who's also 22 years old? You asked me.
22. Right? Yeah, I looked that up. He's 22.
Yeah, he might not be at 168 very long, right? Unless I don't know. Maybe.
Is this smoke and mirrors? I mean, because he's knocked everyone out in the first round. He's 13-0, and he's fought 13 rounds with 13 knockouts. It's crazy. Is this for real? I mean, like, how far can this go? Where a guy hasn't been out of the first round yet?
It's definitely going to stop eventually, obviously, and who knows when that happens, what it's going to look like. But I mean, Keith Conley signed him up, and Keith Conley is one of the most influential and powerful people in the industry. I mean, to me, that's a good sign-off of talent, in my opinion. There seems to be a lot of the right people behind him. Whether that's a sign that he's more of like an industry plant, like you said, or that he's the goods, yet to be determined. But he's blowing everyone out. And the division kind of needs young talent, so I would like him to fight somebody that we know next. That'd be lovely. You know,
yeah.
The Porky Medinas, Dennis Douglas of the world that we've brought up for Melikuziev. You know,
fight Melikuziev next. Make it happen.
Didn't Douglas retire?
No, I think he has a fight lined up, doesn't he?
I think he said if he lost his last fight, he was going to retire, and he kind of said he's following through with it, right? I thought.
He'll be back.
Give him money.
Anyway,
thoughts on the Conlon fight, Rob?
yeah, I mean, he won. I think the scorecards were a little wide, but yeah, I don't know. I can't. I like him, but it's not like mega exciting. But for me personally, but no, he got another W. Keeps moving on. I think.
Against
Lance Pugmire asked him about where he'd be regarding world title shots to Bob Arum, and he said, "We'll see how things are going next year." But I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I like Berlanga. He's sort of been on my radar. I think in the last few fights of his, he's good. Like I don't know, a 168 kind of Lopez, right? He's exciting. Big knockouts, and I know it's early, but
I mean, Lopez is a good boxer.
Yeah, well, we'll see when this guy.
Yeah.
Actually.
Berlanga seems kind of like a bruiser right now. You know, like it's hard to tell.
Trust me.
I got a question.
Old eye on this. I know.
Isn't Conlon ranked number 1 by the WBO?
I would not be surprised. It is top rank.
That means he's fighting Shakur.
Well, no, we're going to get Shakur Warrington next, so that deal is pretty much done.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm saying, like, if
Shakur's going to beat Josh Warrington. Yes, yes.
How would come against Shakur? How's he going to do in that fight?
Not well.
Not well. I thought this was Conlon's best performance. Like, he was sitting down a little bit more on his punches. He's a slapper. He reminds me of Calzaghe, like and not in a good way, right? Like, it's like there's no snap behind everything. Old combinations, just amateurs. Like, he's just looking to score more than you, and it's like this is not going to work against high level competition. He's not going to. I don't think he's a bad fighter. I just think this is as high as you go. Like, there's no more. He's the ceiling. Like,
he's hit the ceiling for 4 fights by now, I want to say. I mean, I haven't seen improvement in a very long time from Michael Conlon.
He's not a great athlete. He's obviously not the biggest hitter, right? Like,
he's not a great athlete.
I mean, he's not that fast. He's not.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
super
strong. You want to compare to Haney or Shakur Stevenson in that division? Like, you want to compare him athletically to those guys?
Or even like a Josh Warrington's a far better athlete than Michael Conlon. Just like the speed of these guys is just different.
Yeah, no, it's just ironic that us 3 guys sat on our asses right now talking about a professional boxer not being a great athlete.
I mean, relative to the
Ruiz,
top,
maybe, but
relative to the top level, yeah.
What was I going to say?
I mean, Rob, would you say he's a good athlete?
Yeah.
He's a good athlete for a guy at the schoolyard. Like, if you're picking teams, he's probably a good athlete. When you take it to the highest level and you're going to be fighting Shakur Stevenson, he's not such a good athlete anymore. It's comparatively, right? Like, you know who's a really good high school baseball player? Me. You know who's a terrible college baseball player? Me. There's levels to this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. Like, yes, if we're
he's a bad athlete because you said he's not a good athlete.
Comparative to the top 10 of the division, yeah, he's not a good athlete.
He's a bad athlete.
Rob's old, but he's not old compared to planets in the galaxy. It's like comparatively, you know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
Rob knows. Rob is just it's Conlon, UK. They got
UK. What you?
Conlon's got that old school stash. I mean, I think Rob likes that. You know, he just has to ride for his mans. I understand.
Anyway, my only final thought on this is: do we think this card peaked at the Lopez fight and dropped off before the main event? The numbers,
no, because people want to see Crawford.
Yeah, I think Commey Lopez is the people's hardcore main event. I don't know if casuals know either one of those 2 guys. To be honest, this was one of those fights that like you hope. The Crawford casuals that watch Crawford fights, the 2 million plus that watch the fights on ESPN, that they run into a Commey Lopez fight that was going to be amazing, and it was not to the same, I think, degree that they wanted. They wanted it to be more of a fight of the year.
Will this be the most viewed fight of the? Because didn't Crawford hold that last year, and then because of this being, is it the Heisman Trophy thing?
It's possible. He has to beat what 2.25 million, 2.5 million. The Charlo.
Okay, were you asking if this was going to be the highest ESPN show or the highest boxing show?
Well,
period?
It's for sure the highest ESPN.
For sure that, yeah.
period in 2019, the highest viewed fight.
It might be because Crawford does really good numbers, plus off the Heisman back. But then again, I think ESPN counter-programmed themselves in a way for the casual sporting audience. Because if I went on ESPN, I was seeing, even on the top-ranked card, constant ads to go buy the pay-per-view, UFC pay-per-view, go watch that. And I don't know what effect that would have on it. I think it has an effect on it because it has to, because they counter-program themselves. But to what degree, I don't know. But I'll be honest, I would not be surprised if this did a little bit less than the Benavidez numbers, but still do really good.
I also wanted to point this out. I think Fox, the Showtime numbers for the Jamal Charlo fight, because they are running ads for that Charlo Harrison fight nonstop on football on Fox. Like every time they go to commercial break, they show the commercial for Harrison versus Charlo. I think they saw the Jamal. I was like, whoa, we can't have a repeat of that.
Which reminds me, guys, unfortunately, MCR did not get credentialed for Charlo Harrison 2. I blame Gary.
It's probably my fault.
Because he always shits on Jamel Charlo. You say he's not good and you like Jamal more. I mean, you can't say that out loud. They're listening.
And laughing at Bill Wanger.
Although we were listening to our Virgil Ortiz post-fight reaction, which I didn't think anyone was going to listen to because nobody really watched the fight. But that's it's got a lot of views for us. It's doing well.
It did well. Let's talk about that briefly. But me and Gary, since we did like a whole show on that, Rob, I want to get your take on Virgil Ortiz versus Brad Solomon quickly, and we're going to run through this card quickly.
Okay. Once he made weight and turned up to fight, he was on point. Yeah, he's legit, no doubt about it. He could easily be one, if not the hottest prospect right now. You know, with Devin Haney laid up in bed, recovering from surgery and things like that. He's took the opportunity. Let's everybody start talking about me now. I thought, he's legit.
Especially with Teofimo Lopez no longer being a prospect, he's a champion.
I mean,
Ortiz might slip in.
When do we stop calling Ortiz a prospect and maybe a contender? You know,
when he fights someone in the top 15.
Yeah. I mean, that's he's got to move not fairly quickly, but we can't have too many more of what we saw. I mean, I don't want to rain on the parade, but Brad Solomon was kind of that guy that was going to get done what happened to him.
Yes.
You know. So, but he did what he had to do. He talked about Crawford. You feel Crawford should have had to have done that to someone like a Kavalauskas, but Ortiz made short work of it, right? So, definitely, if he's not on your radar, people, one to watch. So, get DAZN.
He's definitely probably, at least he might be my number one prospect right now. He might be. Especially in some of those prospects that we've been talking about in the last year have gotten belts. Like Haney has a belt now, kind of. Shakur has the belt, even though he still hasn't fought anyone in the top 15. And obviously Teofimo Lopez just picked up a belt. So those are three big prospects that just kind of went off the board, so to speak, for this discussion. Josh Kelly, Joe Cordina, two prospects I really am high on. They've been sort of doing the same thing this year than they did last year. So they really haven't progressed in a way. In my opinion, though, Cordina's last fight was really good against Tinoco. Dan Dubras is probably going high on that list as well. But, I mean, honestly, Virgil Ortiz, he's probably my number one prospect in the world right now. He's just looking too good. Looking too complete.
You have him, and then you have, of course, Tanahara.
No.
But Dubois...
Lil B Hop, though. He's hot.
Lil B Hop. I would say Dubois, just because his age in the heavyweight. I mean, Dubois is 22. Having a 22-year-old heavyweight like that is like Mike Tyson all over again. This Dubois, he could have 15 years left in this division. You know what I'm saying? Like
20.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is freakish with this kid. Like, I would say he's the best prospect in boxing just because of his division and his age, right?
Potential.
Like, you can fight easily into your late 30s as a heavyweight.
Late 50s, bro. Come on. Look at Luis Ortiz.
Shout out Danny Williams.
Yeah, I didn't really see what was going on with that, Rob. What happened there?
Basically, his opponent was in the ring, gloved up. Danny Williams walked down
Set the table a little better for me, because I have no idea where we're at, what card.
It's a card in Germany. Okay. I think it was to the vacant German. So Danny Williams from the UK. I'm not, he's doesn't have a license here. I don't think he's not licensed to fight here. But in his, I think it was his 84th. It was going to be his 84th fight. Obviously known for beating Tyson. That famous fight when he popped his shoulder and knocked the guy out with his other hand and shit like that. But yeah, Danny Williams, 84th professional fight. Opponents in the ring. He made his ring walk in his civilian clothes, got in the ring and said, "Sorry, I didn't feel too good this morning. I won't be fighting tonight. Sorry about that." I mean, I'm glad because I don't want Danny Williams fighting anymore at 40, I think 47, 48 or whatever he is.
Old.
Yeah. But yeah, boxing.
I saw that on Twitter. I was like, that looks like boxing 101 right there.
Yeah,
Or have you seen the other story from Gray Johnson's been hyping it up because Gray Johnson's a sick individual. Love him. The 70-year-old boxer that's going to break the record for the oldest professional boxer.
68, isn't he? 68 years old.
Now the story is he's doing it because his son passed away, and that was his a dream or something that him and his son had. But still, oh man, go on box. Those listening at BoxRecGray on Twitter, and just go to the media section on his Twitter so you can see the pictures.
On the weigh-in picture.
Oh man, it's rough.
Those tiny whiteys.
It's rough, Gary. Man, you can have a career now. I'm telling you, you can become you can become a Dallas regional star.
And you just called Michael Conlon a bad athlete.
You can make it.
I have epilepsy and CTE, so I have a doctor that said he would never clear me to fight.
It's Texas, bro.
True. I just have to find
get a license.
Just use that one. And if he's not a doctor,
go to Arizona. Go to Arizona, man. Go with Chavez. You're set, bro.
There was a doctor in El Paso that was signing off on fighters in Texas who wasn't a doctor. He was not a licensed doctor at all, but he was just signing it off as if he was a doctor and had official paperhead. And then they looked into it this guy's not registered on any board. This guy's not a doctor. Remember the story? It was a guy in El Paso.
I vaguely remember this story, and it's a very Texas. It almost sounds like a Florida story, but then it's the boxing connection, so it's no, it has to be Texas. It has to be. There's no fights down in Florida. But guys, any other thoughts on Ortiz Solomon card? I know Tamir Melakuzia defeating Von Alexander was an impressive performance. Alberto Machado picking up a much-needed win after 2 losses. Any thoughts, Rob, Gary, on the rest of the card? Rest of the fights of the weekend?
I didn't catch up with it. The rest of it.
Go watch. How do you say his name, Matt?
Melakuziev.
Go watch Melakuziev. You have to watch that fight. This kid is something else. He's a unicorn. He's built like a middleweight, super middleweight version of Derevyanchenko. He's real stocky, and then he's light on his feet. He's got awesome footwork.
Gary just done a full Bob Arum. He's a unicorn.
I want to say this right now, okay? Gary's assessment of Melakuziev comparative to Besputin just reeks of hypocrisy.
I don't. Okay.
Did you watch that from the ago?
The first
put these fights. Hold on, Gary. For my sake, please. Okay. Put these fights side by side on your computer screen one day, and just look at the styles of Besputin and Melakuziev, and think about how you your commentary on Besputin's win comparative to this one. I think both guys are kind of that fighter that can move around a lot, can go to the body a lot, can kind of bully people around a little bit if they need to. I mean, Melakuziev is probably a little bit better.
Volume? High volume?
Yeah. But Melakuziev, to me, has a little bit more pop, you can tell. He does a little more pop. Yeah. But, I mean, to be honest, they have similar styles. You should be high on both of them. Melakuziev is just doing it in faster fashion at 4-0 now.
The Besputin fight did put me to sleep, but I'll try to watch it again.
I don't know how, man.
It must have been late.
I don't know how. That was such a good fight.
See him against Crawford fairly soon. So,
but anyways, guys, let's get to the news of the day. And there was a massive news topic that broke the boxing sphere. Eddie Hearn lands Mikey Garcia on a 1-fight deal with an option, and the second fight with matching rights in that option. The first fight is going to be an alleged $7 million guaranteed purse for Mikey Garcia. All signs point to Jesse Vargas for a February date, but there is some mentioning of Josh Taylor and Regis Prograis, who are also free agents and who could be signed up by Matchroom or DAZN. So, yet to be determined who that first opponent is. But interesting note by Matt Coppinger in his reporting of this is that, and this news was confirmed today as well by Mikey Garcia and Eddie Hearn, that it's not, to me, the way the reporting is framed, that this first fight isn't what they're after. This is a clear money dump to get Mikey and to have some sort of rights into that second fight. Meanwhile, Manny Pacquiao has 1 fight left on his PBC Al Haymon deal. And they're hoping to pick up a Manny Pacquiao, Mikey Garcia fight second half of 2020. I can see the game plan there. Does it work? I don't know. I didn't think they were going to pick up Mikey, to be honest. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, if you throw enough money at people will ignore like better matchups and better long-term, just career decisions because of money. We get it.
Pacquiao's going to want like Canelo money, right?
Oh,
like,
I thought when you said I thought you meant like he wants the Canelo fight. I'm like, what are you talking about? But no, you're right. He would want something
like 20, 30, 25, 30 mil.
More than that. I mean, let's be honest here. Manny Pacquiao historically is a much bigger star than Canelo Alvarez. I mean, much bigger star. If I'm Manny Pacquiao, I'm asking for like 40 million guaranteed, 45 million guaranteed. I'm asking for an arm and a leg. And then likewise, Mikey, if you're paying him $7 million for a Jesse Vargas fight, what do you have to pay him for Manny Pacquiao fight? I mean, it's just going to be a lot of money regardless. But that's their hope, that would be a huge subscriber gain and leader for them to have a Pacquiao-Mikey Garcia fight on DAZN. I get the idea. I get the concept. The execution, does it happen? Yet to be determined, obviously. But ballsy move by DAZN and Matchroom here, to be honest. I did not expect them to do this. So I will give them at least props to do this. Now, does their long-term plan have viability? Again, don't know. But respect to them for pulling this off. I didn't think they could do it.
I wanted to point something out. Mikey's getting $7 million. Jesse's getting at least one. So you have a fight, Mikey versus Jesse, with an $8 million pot. Think about that.
And let's be honest, Jesse Vargas made 1.2 or 3 million against Humberto Soto. He's gonna make 3-4 million.
So you gotta have a $10 million pot for Mikey Garcia versus Jesse Vargas.
$12 million pot.
I'm going mobile, $10 million pot. I mean, that is so bad. It's like he just wanted Mikey Garcia so bad that he didn't care, right? Like, it's one of those things, like when there's like the captain of the cheerleading team, right? You see her like 15 years later. It's like she didn't really age too well, and she gained about 40 pounds. Like, I still want her because I remember her when she was 18. It's like, maybe chill on that. You don't need Mikey that bad.
I mean, to that point, Rob, did Matchroom, did DAZN need Mikey? Do they need a Mikey Jesse Vargas fight? I think obviously they would need a Manny Pacquiao Mikey Garcia fight, but that's not guaranteed. That's not happening yet.
No.
But do they need a one-off potential fight with Mike Garcia in your mind? Is that enough to sort of
I think
change
they
things?
need to, because I think fighters have come to DAZN and then they've sort of said good things, like things have been smooth, been treated well, everything like that. So I think this whole, like it's been described, this courtship by Eddie of Mikey, I think this, and Mike is Mikey, right? He's sort of mercenary about his keeping everything open. I'm not specifically tied to anybody for longer than I want to be. But it seems like a lot of money. But again, this is about subscribers now. In the Athletic piece, Mike Coppinger kind of broke down. He's done great numbers on Showtime. He's done good sort of decent pay-per-view numbers. So he's sort of in Mike's Coppinger's mind, and I think also mine. Like, he seems to be like a draw of somewhat. I think they're talking.
He's
about
a B-level star. And I don't mean like B-level in terms of skill level. Like B-level star is a good thing to be.
Yeah. He's like the top
like
of that.
Canelo, AJ is the A's of the world, obviously.
Yeah, Canelo,
Mike is below
AJ,
that.
Pacquiao, that kind of guy, and then Mike is in that next group of sort of draws. I think so, especially in like LA or Texas, I imagine would be a good place to put that fight. I mean, it may well end up in fucking
Chicago,
Ohio, or something. I don't know, but
Mulvane.
But no, I think it's like you said, it's kind of ballsy, because I think the end goal is a big fight in this second fight. With this option to match, with Eddie, with the option to match like for the second fight, or Mikey fight after this. So, I mean, I don't think Jesse's is a bad fight, but I don't know. People.
It's not. No. Mikey Garcia versus Jesse Vargas is not a bad fight, and honestly, it's probably the smart fight for Mikey to take. It, regardless of take promoters and everything off the table, just matchups and division. Yeah. It makes sense. It's the fact that it's just a grossly overpaid amount for that fight, and quick note here, just to butt in, Rob. Sorry. This is a ballsy move on two levels. Like, it's ballsy because obviously they could not get that second fight from Mikey, and you lose $12 million on a one-off fight, that may not really get you anything. And then it's ballsy because even if you get the second fight and you get the mini pack, let's say you get that big giant fucking whale that you've been hunting, it may be so much that it sinks your ship, so to speak. That it's so much money, it's so much behind it that you can't support a lot of other things that you had planned. And that's why it's a ballsy move on a twofold action. Because even though if they get the Manny Pacquiao fight versus Mikey in the second half of 2020, that might be way too much money for that level of fight for the return they're going to get. It may be a success. It could very well be a success. But it's still a ballsy move even to get that second fight. Like, this is a ballsy attempt by DAZN and Matchroom in every angle you look at it. So that's why I applaud them to a certain degree. Because to do this, I mean, we were talking about this before, for DAZN to really make a dent into the sporting landscape, they have to spend a lot of money. So that's just accepted. Yeah. But on top of that, they have to make ballsy attempts to create attention. Now, I'm not in favor of YouTuber fights to make attention because I don't think that's real sporting attention. But a Manny Pacquiao fight, that's real sporting attention.
That would be huge for DAZN. And
NBA heads, NFL heads, baseball heads, they know who Manny Pacquiao is. They know that name. Everybody in the country knows who Manny Pacquiao's name is.
Well, look, the biggest fight out there, Mayweather and Pacquiao was made at a baseball game, right? That's the story. It was made there. I mean, they were photographed at a basketball game. So I don't know that term sheets were written out courtside, but it was kind of, that was the story. It got done at a Clippers game or whatever, but. No, I think, like you say, it's a ballsy move. I think DAZN have shown they're willing to do that. Huge contract for Canelo. This DAZN, and that, and now it's that network where Canelo is we're gonna be watching. And along the line, I think DAZN have surprised us. I know there's people are scratching like, how are they going to get this money back, or how is this even? Success financially? They
aren't success financially yet.
But they're trying to do it, and obviously without any of the other, the big four sports or whatever, the big three even, or whatever it is, they've got to do it via boxing. And if they can lure a Manny Pacquiao after his contract's done with PBC, then that's big. That's attention. hopefully they bring out DAZN Philippines and get some money back there. But yeah, no. Eddie's got his guy. He's been chasing Mikey since DAZN started, right?
Yeah, I mean that was the girl that he wanted.
Even before, I think Eddie in interviews said he was
even with HBO, yeah, when he was when they really started matching in the US. But
Why
Gary,
do you think he wants Mikey so much? Like, why is that high school cheerleader after all this? I have to have.
Not to give Bob Arum any credit, but I think Bob Arum said it right. That just sounds nasty for me saying it. That Eddie and DAZN have found success in Canelo, and I think they're drawing a correlation with the Hispanic demographic, and that's why you see them grab Chavez. That's why you see them now try to grab Mikey and grab Mikey. I think they're trying to tap into that market and that demographic, to be honest. That Canelo was that they're finding success with that route through Canelo. Let's go down that route. I think that's why, to be honest. And plus, I think a lot of people outside of maybe the U.S., when they picture U.S. boxing, a lot of Mexican and Hispanic names are part of U.S. boxing history. So I can understand the connection there for Eddie, even regardless of the Canelo DAZN success.
I get that, right? Because like in Texas, the boxing community is pretty strong, and that's predominantly Mexican and Hispanic community, right? Like the community, the boxing community is predominantly carried because there's interest from Hispanics and Mexicans in particular. Like, so I get that, but like, I don't know, is Mikey your guy? Because he wanted Mikey even before the Spence number. He's been trying to wine and dine Mikey.
Again, Mikey is not the end goal. The end goal is Pacquiao. And to that point, I want to ask you this question. Let's say they get a Pacquiao-Mikey fight second half 2020. Like, is that a game changer for DAZN?
I mean, I can't see it being a game changer because of just how much money they've invested into. Like, it'll do well.
Yes.
But Pacquiao's 1 or 2 fights away from being done. So if I got DAZN to watch Pacquiao, I'm not keeping it the next month, which is their end goal.
No, I understand. I'm just asking questions.
What follows it? They've tried to be clever with their what fights for, when and where, because of like when they charge you for the next sort of big one, it falls outside of the 30-day window. So you'd have to see what, like, yeah, if say they make a Manny Pacquiao, Mikey Garcia fight, it's what's in, say that's July. So it's like what's coming in August and what date does that, we'll have to see what.
But that doesn't mean matter. Like, look, for the people that they're trying to grab for that type of fight, those type of people they don't know what DAZN is. They have no idea who is fighting. They don't care about who's fighting. They just want to see a Manny Pacquiao fight. That's it. And then for DAZN, what you're hoping is that, to be honest, you need... maybe you're hoping that you grab more of the Hispanic market because the Hispanic market does love Manny Pacquiao to a degree. Like, you can argue that Manny Pacquiao is the biggest star in the Mexican-American community right now. Like, you can make that argument. Like, Manny Pacquiao's always done very well in that market. But it's not... DAZN needs something outside of boxing to grab those fans. Like, if they had Mexican soccer rights, if they had MLS soccer rights, maybe something there. Because then you're tapping into more of the Mexican demographic, more of an Hispanic demographic for sports, right? But you're going to more of a mainstream sport. You need something like that, in my opinion. Attached to a Manny Pacquiao big giant commercial. But again, like Gary says, you're spending so much money on something that I don't know if you really get if you get it back, even long term. Because Manny Pacquiao's not going to be there long term. I don't think Mikey Garcia is going to be there long term at DAZN. This seems like a hopeful attention grab that will then lead to just brand awareness. But is $60 million worth that for brand awareness? I don't know. Maybe they're thinking that's a drop in the bucket for a multi-billion-dollar company. perhaps.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's
Who knows? Without knowing the deep financials and where other revenue sources are, we maybe just don't know. But yeah, like you said, maybe to them it's completely worth it.
And I mean that, like, look, you have a guy like Len Blavnik, who is a mogul oligarch in like the truest sense from Russia. This guy is one of the richest people in the world, and it's a private company. God knows if it's losing money, he just keeps funneling his own private investment into it because he owns the company. You know what I mean? Like
another $500 million, right? From, is it Goldman Sachs? They were looking for investment.
Yeah, they're looking for investment
to kind of offload some of the burden of it, I think.
Yes.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Thank you for bringing that up. You're absolutely right about that. At what point do you just contend to be a major market leader in like Germany and Japan, and you have a few things in a few markets that you kind of spend money on, but that's it, and that's your company? And you lower the cost, lower the overhead, and you've just streamlined the content and the product.
I don't know. I think they're going all out.
They are. No, that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, regarding other content for USA.
No. Well, obviously they're going to try. I don't think they're going to be successful. Like they're just not. Like they're not successful in the UK for the was the Champions League, right?
Champions League, yeah.
Thank you. I was going to say British Premier League.
Looking at it, how much they were. I don't know whether they were like just testing the waters or whether they were full on expecting to enter the UK market. I don't know, but just looking at it from other sort of articles. But
if you're going full out, you have to. Like, you can't test the waters with this game.
I meant like with the US venture, like I think they're going to definitely be looking to attack the big rights. Like you say, do they get it? Maybe not, but we'll see. But all I know is Gary will be tuned in to watch Mikey Garcia be the guy to beat Manny Pacquiao live on DAZN.
Yeah, look, I think that fight's happening no matter what, but I still don't think it's happening on DAZN.
I know, it's just because he picked Mikey over Pacquiao.
I think Mikey is going to finesse DAZN and offload some costs from PBC and go to DAZN and have a tune-up fight, then go back for the Manny Pacquiao fight on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, look,
He's a mercenary, I think you said it. Like, he's a bounty hunter, man. He is.
And fair play to him if he's bouncing around picking up these big checks. I mean, Robert Garcia has tweeted, quote tweeted Michael Benson giving the details of the athletic stuff about the 7 million. He said, I want a pay rise, Mikey. So whether that's an indication that maybe the numbers aren't right, and it's like, well, if that's the case, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a hefty amount for this Jesse Vargas fight. But yeah,
if Triple G is getting 15 million plus equity
for Steve Rolls,
Mikey better be getting paid a lot. If he's not, he failed in the negotiation because he's a bigger star than Triple G. He should be getting paid more than Triple G. They just overpaid Triple G significantly. Let's just be honest about it. But digressing, has any other points on Mikey? 1 fight plus 1 fight option with Matchroom / DAZN.
Who do you think Pacquiao's last fight with PBC is going to be against? Is it going to be against Mikey or is it someone else?
I'm leaning Danny Garcia at this point. I think Spence takes more time off or tune-up, to be honest. Maybe like takes a mandatory, and we have a Pacquiao Danny Garcia fight on pay-per-view early summer is my guess.
Well, that's Pacquiao's first fight back this year, next year.
Yeah, I would, yeah, because he's a 2-fight-a-year guy. I think he fights April to June is probably when that fight, because you have Danny fighting in January against Hypen Redcat. Easy fight. You can theoretically you could probably even do it earlier in March if you wanted to, a Pacquiao Danny Garcia fight. But I think you can probably see an April to May or June fight for that. But I think it's Danny Garcia. That's the one that just makes the most sense.
So we're not getting Mayweather Pacquiao at all?
I'm leaning to... Well, Mayweather says he has some sort of thing with Dana White in November 2020. So, I don't think it's Pacquiao. Whatever that is.
Does DAZN lose out trying to get the Mikey fight because Dana White has courted Mayweather, and he's going to be able to get Pacquiao over on fucking UFC Fight Pass or something.
Stop.
Like that.
No, not happening. But Gary, since you asked the question, who do you think Pacquiao fights in his first fight, or his last fight, I should say, with his PBC deal?
Mikey Garcia in May or June.
Oh, so you think
Mikey's going to take the $8 million or $7 million
in like February for a tune-up, and then come back and if Mikey does that, finesse king of boxing, he has to be. The way he is finessing these promoters and these networks, one else is doing it.
Unless Eddie has absolutely sold him that he's going to get the fight with Pacquiao, you can't pass up on a Pacquiao fight. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to take the $7 million where I can get it, and then I'll go back and get the big fat payday against Pacquiao.
And Pacquiao still has that one fight in the contract that hasn't happened yet.
Right.
I mean, maybe. I mean, the timing has to be perfect, But see, the thing is that if that were to happen, then automatically Eddie would have matching rights to that pay-per-view, even though it's...
Whose option is it? Who has the option?
Eddie does.
Oh!
He has matching rights.
Had the option.
So that's probably why it wouldn't happen. Even though I like I like the theory.
That's Hearns.
It doesn't happen because there's no way Heyman allows, in my opinion, Hearns to have some sort of matching option on a Pacquiao Mikey fight. Especially when he has the rights to the main Pacquiao fight. He's going to keep that in-house to a Danny fight, to be honest. I think that's going to be
Don't mess with us Hearns, all right? Us Hearns have got it switched so we know what we're doing.
I don't know who it's going to be. It would be a quick turnaround for Danny, but he could do it. If we're talking about fighting in May. I mean, I guess Danny would be the front runner unless Spence comes back. And they wait for Spence to come back, and they make that straight away.
I mean, it's we're gonna get Manny Pacquiao, Danny Garcia, April. My guess. See, I expect that to be on the same day as Lopez to really piss us off. Because that's how boxing is. Have to have all the nice things at the same time, so we can't enjoy everything. Let's get to this. Second last topic, so guys, call in 323-870-4051. But Tyson Fury switching up trainers, getting rid of Ben Davison, and picking up. Oh, sorry, we're gonna get to that aspect in a second. Picking up Sugar Hill Stewart, who is the nephew of Emmanuel Stewart, who trained Adonis Stevenson and Charles Martin, and we have Tyson Fury going back to the Kronk gym to train. Rob, I have almost no thoughts about this because I don't know what to think about it. It's it's a total Tyson Fury story where it's erratic behavior, but erratic behavior is normal behavior for this guy. So should we be worried about him switching trainers this close to a Wilder rematch? I don't know. It's Tyson Fury. Who knows with this guy?
Look, Ben Davison tweeted out, obviously it's not going to stop until there's an answer. Tyson and myself had to both make decisions for our careers, which resulted in our working relationship coming to an end. However, we remain friends and he will smash the dosser.
I'm not, it definitely seemed like an amicable split.
I'm trying to get, you're saying about this being slightly random, but Tyson is random and whatever. But I think it's, who's the English guy, eccentric writer, Gareth Davies.
Okay.
Gareth Davies. He said apparently this came from a conversation in Manchester about 4 or 5 days ago. Didn't go into details, I think, but that's sort of what he's hearing. So it's fairly quickly, swiftly done. So I'm not sure of the reasoning, but I know Fury, just from his book, he loved his time when he went over to the Kronk gym back in, I think it was 2010, something like that. Mm-hmm. That's when Manny Stewart had called him and told him to come over, really liked the guy. Apparently everyone in the gym was like this white guy. Look at him, like never seen anything like it of a heavyweight. And he loved his time there. Nearly didn't go home. Apparently, you know, in his book, he said nearly didn't go home. Just loved it out there. But yeah, it's interesting. But for me, a lot of people took away, Ben Davison, they say like, oh yeah, he got him in shape. He got him in the right frame mind. But Tyson's skills were kind of like from, you know, his dad. You know, it's the training, his style, everything was kind of already there, like as if like Davidson didn't add anything sort of boxing wise. But you know, people have their opinion on what Ben Davison as a trainer, like boxing trainer, what he did. But this, you know, with February 22nd around the corner, camp with Deontay Wilder for the rematch, is it risky? I don't know. It's Tyson Fury. I really, like you said, kind of like what you're saying. Like, I don't quite know.
If this was anyone else, I'd be like, oh, this is huge red flag. Huge red flag.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's Tyson Fury. Is he just like doing Tyson Fury things? Is he on a binge? I don't know.
He's going to get in the ring and be Tyson Fury. You know, I think regardless, the trainer could be telling him everything right that he should be doing, or saying you're doing great when he isn't, and Fury's going to listen to himself. In my opinion, he'll do what he thinks is right.
Gary, you're muted. Oh, hold on. My bad. There you go. My bad.
Did you mute me?
Maybe.
Okay.
You know, it's only because of the echo.
Okay, that's fine.
That you think doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. And I'll play it back. And I'll be quite certain there's no echo.
Okay. Hour and 40 minutes in. Check the tape, Gary. Back.
There may be a kid screaming in the background. That's possible. That's me.
Wait, you were the one? Wait, you were the kid screaming in the background? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I wanted ice cream for dinner, and my wife said no, so I had a fit.
I understand that completely. But your thoughts on Tyson Fury switching up trainers 8 weeks before a gigantic fight?
Well, you remember he brought in
Freddie Roach.
Freddie Roach
To the last one, yeah.
And for the Wilder fight. And Freddie and Ben Davison had some contrasting views on the fight, and Roach kind of threw him on the bus that the kid's like amateur, like he doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, I think what Freddie Roach was right. I think, you know, if you can get Wilder out, get him out. Don't let him hang around with you, because the longer you hang around, the better chance you have of getting knocked out. So we can get him out. Get him out right now. I think he's right, and I think he's looking at his last performance combined with. Which he didn't look good. And what was it? Wallin is not good. I've been hearing people say, oh, Wallin's a top 10 or 15 heavyweight. No, he's not. He's a big dude who can take a beating. That's all he is.
Yeah, like Kavlauskas.
The Mean Machine is better than he is.
Barely.
So I think he's looking at his last performance, and that maybe he didn't get the best advice from Ben Davison in the Wilder fight, and that's why he didn't win. They went to the scorecard to work out. No, he did, but they went to the scorecard. If Freddie Roach had his way, he would have won for the knockout, and I would have knocked him out, but we would have never got to that point.
It was a draw.
You know what I'm saying, Rob? Like, if I would have listened to Freddie, I'd have knocked him out, and I would have never got Rob.
I'm whispering it was a draw with Wallin or something. I don't know.
No, with Wilder.
No, we're talking about the Wallin fight.
Wallin fight. Oh yeah, I mean that was.
Oh, the Wallin, he won.
No, I mean I think Gary was talking about the Wilder fight. He's been switching back and forth from the Wilder fight and the
fight was a bad performance, which he fought a bum and looked bad in it with it.
It's okay.
The Wilder fight, he got bad advice. I mean, he's probably agreeing with Freddie Roach at this point. Why didn't I just knock him out? I wouldn't have gotten Rob to be heavyweight champ right now, right? So those two things combined make me think Ben Davison's not the right guy for me.
I agree with a lot of what you guys say. More so Rob, but I mean a lot of what you guys say. I just have no real thoughts about it because it's Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury's just nuts. I mean, that's a possibility too. That can always be the case.
Because it's true. He is. But on the Tyson Fury note, brief little tidbit of the Tyson Fury story. Are we getting the Wilder rematch, or are we getting the Klitschko rematch?
Versus which rematch? Oh no, obviously Wilder wouldn't be a rematch, but oh my god.
No, Wilder would be a rematch. For Fury it would be.
Yeah, Klitschko wouldn't be.
No, but I was talking from the framing of Fury.
I just meant his 3 tweets. I was like, oh my god.
But Klitschko was out there tweeting that, hey, let me entertain you with this. See if you like it. Fury versus Klitschko 2. And the entire universe said, nah, fam, we good. And I just...
How many likes did it get in the end?
Almost 20,000. Well, one of them almost got 20,000. He had 3 other tweets saying the same thing. I don't know what they all got.
Fury was winning the Fury rematch. It's like an oxymoron saying, let me entertain you with this, and then said me versus Fury 2.
Yeah, we don't want that's not entertaining.
No, that's like some kind of oxymoron or whatever, because the first one was shit.
I think Klitschko, almost similar to Andre Ward, loves trolling the public about a comeback. They do it.
He does. He loves an ego rub, right?
They do. And I think it's just, to me, I've gotten to the point where I think it's really funny, to be honest. Like, I've now accepted that it's funny.
People say, nah, I'm not interested. But one says, yes, Vlad, come back. He's like, see, I still got it. You know, it's like that one person is all it needed.
Yeah, that's true. But anyways, last topic of the day, then we'll go to callers, we'll go to Santiago, and anyone else that calls in, 323-8704.
I have to address this. PSK, inform Gary that Valine is the heavyweight version of Barrios. Get out of here.
Oh, is he masquerading around with the title that's not real?
Or I do like this comparison. Valine is the heavyweight Brandon Adams.
Oh, where's my soundbite? I don't think I got it anymore.
That one's good. All right, last topic of the day. Then we're going to head out of here. Mike Coppinger reporting sources. Caleb Plant with a headline, PBC on Fox, February 15th. A homecoming title defense in Nashville. Alfredo Angulo was lined up as the opponent, but he is now out of the running.
Are we getting Vegan Butt?
Vegan Bud's coming back. Yes.
Is it going to be his Mando?
I mean, if it is, at least we get out of the fucking way, because it's Vegan Butts. I mean,
hey, don't sleep on Vegan Butts.
He could be like Otto Wallin or Kavalauskas.
No, he's greater than that.
Could be one of these sleeper elite fighters that's better than Victor Postal. And
he's been sleeping everybody, right? He's like a bit of a hitter.
Has he?
According to Kala, I think. I don't know. I'm not
Caleb Plant's one of those guys who's so extremely talented. Like, I just want to fight good opponents, and he hasn't lately against Foogatti. And like, I'm kind of getting frustrated. If it's mandatory, like, I'm frustrated, but I'm allowing it in the hopes that he's fighting a Benavidez Yildirim winner next, right? Like, it has to be unification after a mandatory, in my opinion. Otherwise, what's the point? Especially when the unification's in-house.
Yeah.
You guys, any thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know.
This fight's in Nashville, right?
Yes.
It's a homecoming fight?
Yes.
I may like to go to this. Nashville is one of those great southern cities. I might want to go to that fight.
I have family that has been. They've always said it's very nice. I've never been.
Good music.
Barbecue is fantastic.
I think I've flown through Nashville once. Randomly.
What was it like? Good?
The airport was nice. Yeah, I guess.
How was Memphis?
What?
Was it Delta? You probably flew through Memphis.
Probably.
Memphis has the barbecue, and so you walk into the airport and it smells like ribs.
Dude, this is years ago now.
Okay.
And plus, like, every southern airport smells like ribs. Every single one. Okay, Atlanta,
ribs.
All of them, Birmingham, it's all smelling like ribs. Delicious.
America smells of ribs. What are you talking about?
Nah, come on.
Best food there is. Period.
What, ribs?
Ribs.
Just any sort of
why
barbecue.
not steak? Get more.
That's a great debate. Ribs or steak? Ribs or steak? I got to go ribs.
It's steak.
Steak, Gary.
It's steak.
Pork ribs or steak?
It's
steak.
Steak, Gary.
It is always steak.
You get shit.
If you cook a right steak that's thick enough with the right amount of fat on the side to give it some juice, nothing beats it, man. Nothing beats it. Put enough seasoning on it, some garlic butter, you set. I'm telling you.
You go with the ribeye, Matt? That's the kind of steak you get?
No. If I have like my choice, and usually like obviously options are a little bit limited sometimes, but like a New York steak is
the New York strip, yeah.
Yeah, is like my go-to. If I have to pick.
Because if you go to best steakhouse in the world, it's called Uncle Jack's. It's in Queens. But don't get the New York strip. Get the ribeye. If anyone's in New York or going to be in New York. Uncle Jack's Steakhouse.
New York strip's one of those steaks that's not good in New York, but great everywhere else. Just saying. Oh, obviously, like I'm gonna mispronounce it. The Wagyu steak, whatever the one that costs like $50 for like a.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's some bougie stuff. I don't eat that.
Yeah, I don't have money for that stuff. So like, I apologize. Like, no one's really eating that. Let's be honest. But guys, callers.
Gara's getting rapidly outvoted in the chat. Steak.
It is steak, but then again, like ribs isn't a big thing in the UK. So like a lot of our UK listeners won't understand like how great ribs can be, because great ribs are amazing. But the thing is, there are a lot more bad ribs than great ribs. While steak, pretty consistent across the board.
Except at ESPN Zone. Never get the steak at ESPN Zone.
Never get food at the ESPN Zone. You think it's going to be a great time because it's all the screens, all ESPN? No, shitty food. Let's go to Santiago in LA. Santiago. Porterhouse, also Igloo. Mentioning Porterhouse. That's nice.
Yo, what's up, guys?
What's up, Santi?
It's been
Ribs or steak, Santiago?
Hold on, Santi. Ribs or steak?
I'm a steak man for life, so I've had ribs, but like I didn't have ribs until like the Mayweather-McGregor fight.
That's right. Wasn't it at JP's house? Or
yes,
was it? Yeah.
It was at JP's house.
And JP cooked ribs, and that was your first time having ribs. It's a transcendental moment for a young man.
Anyways, we've had ourselves an interesting weekend of fights, to say the least. I saw the Virgil Ortiz fight just because it's Virgil Ortiz. Honestly, when I saw he was fighting Solomon, my first thought was, oh, he's fighting Sam Solomon. So I honestly didn't think anything of it up until I saw that it was Brad. But good performance by him. Look forward to seeing him actually step up the competition. And like you said, Matt, anybody that said that Brad Solomon was a step-up fight needs to really get their head checked at that point.
That's right. I definitely got people telling me it was a step-up fight. It wasn't.
And, you know what? I think it's the damnedest thing that I've called it 3 times whenever my gut told me something, and I've gotten it right so far, that Lopez ended up having his Gervonta Davis performance. Like you said, Matt, he did it in spades, better opponent, a little bit more credible, if you want to call it that. And I think the only knock you really can take away from the fight is the fact that it only lasted 2 rounds. But still, it's kind of like what was going on with Inoue. They just keeps blowing these guys out, and if that's what Lopez ends up doing, then we can't really knock him because he's just doing what he's doing. And I said it on last night's call too when we were doing the live fight chat. I think Lomachenko would be the first real test of adversity that Lopez could face, because he is, a sublime boxer. He's very defensively responsible, but at the same time, and I guess maybe I want to have Gary and Rob's take on this. At 135, Lomachenko is mortal compared to what he was at 130 and 126.
I absolutely agree. And that was what I was saying about Crawford, too. Like, maybe it's his 3rd weight class. And it's even more so for Lomachenko because he's too small for that weight class. Like, Commey and those guys are a lot bigger than him. I said if he fought, what's his name, at 130? The Mexican
Burchell
would be bigger. Right? Like, he's too small for 135. Now, he can have success there because he's that great. But eventually, somebody's going to be too big and too strong for him. Right? We're like, Canelo was able to beat Kovalev at 75, but we're like, well, what if it fought better beef? That'd probably be a bad matchup for him, right? Like, I just think somebody physically strong, like Commey or Teofimo, is going to be too much for him.
I agree as well. I
think 126 and 130 is really where he belongs.
Rob?
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
He's muted.
No, he's not.
What are you talking about?
No, we can hear him just fine, Gary. Oh,
Gary.
Then you're messed up, Gary.
I looked up
Okay.
and, the order of the people in the screen had changed, but no, I agree, Gary. I think Loma, I think like if Campbell wasn't such a big 135 pounder, he would have been dispatched by Loma. But I think people's size are like the factor that maybe these fights are going like it went 12 rounds with Campbell. But I think that's because he isn't really big enough for that division, but his skills are enough to keep him kind of within that division. But I don't know, a young Lopez. I don't know. I think it'll be a great fight, but I at the moment I think
90 seconds.
His skills might be a little bit. I just don't see Lopez beating him at the moment. No, like I said, like I think like Gary said, if you just said that before last night, I'd have laughed my ass off. Now it's like, well, there's pause for thought, whereas there wasn't before.
Santi.
Agreed. And I was saying this in the chat too, that in terms of Crawford's performance, kind of like in comparison
60
to
seconds.
Lopez's performance with Nakatani, you got to wonder like where he is mentally at this point, because like when you look at him at 135 and at 140, like he may not have been the best interview, and he may not have really gave two shits about like going to the conferences or whatnot, or stating what his like intentions are. But there did seem to be like some level of like he wanted to accomplish something. It was beating Gamboa, and then like obviously couldn't make the weight, so moving up to 140, and then becoming undisputed at 140. He had his performance with Jeff Horn, and then like somewhere along the ways he just kind of like stopped caring, and like it seems that way in a lot of ways too, not just with like the fighting,
10
the media,
seconds.
but like even if you look at like his like IG and stuff, it's kind of like very bland. And obviously you guys have talked about like he's upset that he's not being like promoted right or anything, but it's kind of like if you're not really gonna do anything to try and get yourself out there too, then like what do you expect? People can only work with so much at that point, even if you are shy, quiet, introverted, don't really like talk and whatnot. You're in a profession where the eyes of the world are on you at that point, and when you're at that level in your given profession or sport, it's to be expected at that point, performance-wise and obligations-wise. So I'm curious as to see like where he's going to be at this point, because like again, I said it that if he doesn't get Kyle Velasquez out within 4 rounds, then I don't even care to DVR his fights at this point. And seeing that fight, it was just kind of like he kept getting caught, and like you said, Matt, he was kind of like on an ego trip. Like, who gives a shit if this guy's catching me? I'll still beat him. But then it was like, so what? Like, we expected better from you at this point. You've shown us you could easily be better than this at this point, and you just don't give a damn at that point. And if you don't give a damn, why the hell should we give a damn?
Great points, Santi.
I think you guys are being harsh.
Look, man, if you are going out there saying you are the best in the world, you have to meet that fucking standard. And he didn't. Like, sorry. Like, I'm not the one holding him to the standard. He's holding himself to that standard. Crawford is. I'm merely pointing out the fact that he's not meeting his own standard.
No, the performance didn't make. Oh, go ahead, Santi.
All right. Yeah. All right. So let me put it to you this way, Gary. We've seen what Crawford's capable of, right, at 135 and at 140 with what he accomplished, even if the competition may not have been, the most noteworthy, right? But he did set that standard for himself based on his performances and based on his own actual statements at that point, And when you get a guy who, like for me, like I said, like a while back too, when he was asked about who he won and everybody was talking about like he's probably gonna ask about the Pacquiao fight, all he could say was, "It's whatever." And tell me that is not such a high school response to you.
Gary, I think he was asking you a question. Gary.
We can't hear him.
Why?
I don't know. Rob?
No, I couldn't hear him at the end there. It just sort of went all weird, and then I couldn't hear you. You replied to Santi, right?
Yeah.
But I couldn't hear what
I
you
can
said.
hear you just fine now, but the call, I couldn't.
Santi, say something.
Can you guys hear me?
Perfect.
Perfect. I don't know. Perfect.
But anyways, he was asking you basically, just to paraphrase, that Crawford's response to anytime Pacquiao was questioned, there was a Pacquiao question directed at him, was childish, was immature, was high schoolish. Like, he never really handled it like a professional athlete. Santiago brought up that point as well. I forget what else he brought up. Santiago, I apologize.
I felt this week he was, I don't know, in a different sort of mood and headspace. I don't know. It wasn't, media all coming to cover your fight, which people already were like, this isn't really exciting. We're not interested too much, but people were there and then didn't want to talk about things. And when maybe people were suggesting you need to, because I'm bored of hearing away from the camera, Bud's hilarious, Bud's this, Bud's that. Well, I don't know. People need to see that. You can try and get your personality across a little more. Because we've seen like funny Bud on, backstage, getting caught on camera, and that exchange with him and Errol, brilliant, like real good. That was like part of the promo. If that fight ever happens, you can play that, and but yeah, to like not want to talk about PBC. I get that he's might be like, because he reads Twitter, he reads social media, he hears what people are saying, and it's like, what can I do? These fights aren't happening. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but like, whether it's, look, I got a fight this week, I don't want to talk about that shit, but I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't. I don't know. You can still say things without, I don't know, being like that. I didn't think that was great either. But yeah, he was in a different headspace, really, for me.
Crawford's done nothing but do himself a disservice time and time again. And it's hard to root for a guy when he's fighting this level of competition. He hasn't been looking as spectacular as he used to. And he's not really talking the right shit. And in prize fighting, you need to talk the right shit. Like, that's just the reality of it. And like you said, Santi, and you said, Rob, like, he clearly doesn't want to deal with anything in front of the camera, doesn't want to address things in front of the camera, doesn't want to address things in the media. And the times he does, you can tell that he thinks of himself as the best in the world. But man, again, I fall back to, if you're the best in the world, I want to see what Canelo's doing in you, Crawford. I want to see you jump up weight classes and demolish people. He's not doing that. I want to see you start dominating other champions within your division like you did against Jacobs. We haven't seen that with Crawford yet at 147. He did that at 140. And that's where X Factor's coming to. But anyways, Santiago, any other points you want to talk about? Mikey Garcia going to DAZN, Fury switching trainers, anything else?
Nah, man, that's pretty much all I really have to say. You guys pretty much stated it, all the obvious points that need to be stated regarding those two topics. If you guys have any questions regarding either of the topics, feel free to shoot. Otherwise, that's my call. And as always, everybody that's been listening in and tuning in, hit that like button, share, subscribe, follow them on Twitter, IG, Facebook. They're always here. They're here. Like Rob's like on the verge of knocking out at this point with how late it is over there. Just show these guys some love.
Yes. Hit the like button, share the show, all that fun stuff. Thank you for the call, Santiago. Always appreciate it. Guys, that's it for the show. Let's get out of here. It's been a long one. I did 5 hours of radio yesterday. I'm exhausted. Find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, on all social media platforms. I hope everyone has a fantastic day, evening, night, wherever you are. You know how to support the show. Hit the like button, share the show, listen on podcast forum, drop that 5-star review. Patreon.com/Makes Combat Radio and all that other fun stuff. Gary?
Great show, guys. We get to see the future of boxing and two guys, Virgil Ortiz and Teofimo Lopez, this weekend. Good weekend. So follow me on all forms of social media, 3D Boxing or 3D Boxing Blog, whatever floats your boat. Right, Rob?
Wow. Yeah. Your actual hat would be good, yeah.
Good night and God bless.
Rob.
Yeah, UK Rob, MTR, Instagram and Twitter. Yeah. What have we got coming up this week? We find out if Chavez is allowed to fight Jacobs, I guess. It's like 3 days and the fight's in like 5 days. What else? I think there's a next gen card, I think, over here. I'll have to check that out. I think Richard Riakporhe. But yeah, I'm sure other news will spill out from this Mikey Garcia stuff, the Fury stuff, with the trainer, whether people are interested or not. But yeah, whatever's big in the sport, we'll try and bring it to you when it well, not exactly when it happens, we're not like that, but
close
10
enough.
10 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Matt's time. What's that, Pacific time? And whatever time it is on Gary's planet.
Central.
Yeah. Catch you on the next one.
It'd be 4 o'clock Central. But anyways, guys, peace.
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.